Hello viewers. Welcome to a special journey, where we will follow the brave Japanese fishermen on a modern fishing boat, braving the rough waves in the middle of the ocean to hunt for precious salmon. They are not only looking for fish, but also pursuing a mission to feed millions of people with marine resources. The sea is never easy. Strong winds, high waves, harsh weather and unpredictable surprises. But for Japanese fishermen, it is a part of life. They were born on the island. Grew up with the salty smell of the sea and the murmuring sound of the waves. And then when they grow up, they continue the work of their ancestors, going out to sea, casting nets, and bringing back hundreds of tons of salmon each season on modern ships over 60 meters long, equipped with radar technology, satellite positioning and large-scale seine systems. The crews set off at dawn. They cannot know exactly how much they will catch today. But they carry hope for a bumper season, for holds full of fresh salmon, for shipments that will be transported to the mainland to supply both Japan and the world market. We will witness the entire process, from the moment the fish are found by sonar technology, until the giant seine is released in the middle of the ocean. When the salmon are caught in the net, dozens of sailors will coordinate rhythmically, pulling the net, classifying, cooling and preserving it right on the ship. All is done at breakneck speed, but extremely precise and professional. Behind each catch is the sweat, resilience and bravery of the men of the sea. They are not just fishermen, they are warriors in the ocean. Symbols of the Japanese spirit, working tirelessly, never surrendering to difficulties, always aiming for perfection and maximum efficiency. Today's crew consists of 22 people, faces that have become very familiar after dozens of fishing seasons. The commander is Mr. Hiroshi, an experienced captain who has been at sea for more than 30 years. He is known to be strict and quiet, but he is the first to wake up and the last to leave the deck every day. For him, salmon is not only a valuable seafood, but also a symbol of perseverance, of returning. Like the way salmon swim upstream to spawn. The ship sets sail. Leaving behind the dim lights of the fishing port and the sleeping fishing villages. The air is fresh but cold. Everyone is wearing thick windbreakers and hard hats, preparing for a long and challenging day. After about 4 hours of travel, when the ship reaches the deep sea, where the water is cold and rich in oxygen, ideal conditions for salmon to live, the real journey begins. A group of fishermen went down to the radar room to monitor the sonar. This device helped them locate schools of fish moving underwater. Looking at the screen, they saw long, dense streaks, a sign that a school of salmon was swimming east. "We've found a big school," Hiroshi said in a low voice, his eyes glued to the radar screen as if reading a treasure map. Immediately, the whole crew seemed to wake up. The alarm was sounded, not to warn of danger, but to announce that the crucial moment had arrived. One by one, they took their positions. Some were in charge of operating the machinery. Some were preparing to drop the nets. Some were checking the water pumps and refrigeration systems. On deck, a giant seine net began to be rolled out, hundreds of meters wide, nearly 10 meters high, rolled up in the hold and operated by a hydraulic system. A large purse seine is different from a trawl or longline. It is designed to encircle a school of fish in a large area and then gradually tighten it. It takes 8 people to deploy it accurately. The boat runs in a circle, closing off a large area of water. Then the net collection system starts working, gradually pulling the school of fish close to the deck. The scene at this time is extremely lively. Waves of silver salmon, shiny, muscular, strong, struggling in the net. Some are nearly a meter long, weigh up to 8 to 10 kilograms, have bright red bodies. These are mature fish. With fragrant, firm meat and are the type most sought after by high-end restaurants. The sound of fish hitting the net echoed like hailstones falling on the deck. Water splashed everywhere. The fishermen shouted loudly as they worked, working in unison like a well-oiled machine. Some operated the crane. Others used large nets to pull each batch of fish onto the processing conveyor belt. Some young people participating in the big fish season for the first time could not hide their astonishment when they saw thousands of salmon being brought up to the deck amid loud cheers. Some even called it salmon rain. Once the fish were brought up, the processing began immediately. A group of workers wearing gloves, masks and white aprons began sorting the fish by size. The grade A fish, large, fresh, and beautifully colored, were sent to the cold storage area. A specially designed super cold seawater cooling system kept the fish at a temperature of nearly 0 degrees Celsius without freezing. This helped to preserve the freshness of the salmon throughout the hour-long journey. Smaller or injured fish are transferred to the processing bay for filleting, canning, or making high-quality animal feed. No fish is wasted. Every part, from the meat, to the bones, to the organs, has value in the food and pharmaceutical industries. Meanwhile, Captain Hiroshi stands on the observation deck, using binoculars to monitor the movements of the ocean currents and winds. For him, fishing is not just manual labor, but also an art, a science. He calculates when to change direction, when to stop, when to drop more nets. Sometimes, if he is just a few minutes late, the fish will swim away. By mid-afternoon, the first hold is full of fish. The smell of fresh fish permeates the deck. Mixed with the smell of sea salts and engine oil. But no one rests. The crew continues fishing for another round, trying to take advantage of the time of day when the fish are most active. One by one, the holds were filled up. Some held up to 40 tons of fish. And by the end of the trip, they could bring back more than 200 tons of salmon. As the sun rose high and the sunlight began to shine on the sparkling sea like gold, the Japanese salmon fishing boat was still working hard. The entire deck became bustling like a miniature factory in the middle of the ocean. The steady sound of the engine, the sound of the net, the sound of the fish splashing in the tank, the calls of the sailors, all created a lively symphony of the sea. First Mate Nakagawa, a man in his 40s, agile and extremely precise, was in charge of coordinating the entire fish sorting process. He had sharp eyes, used to looking at fish and being able to guess the weight, freshness and quality of the meat in just a few seconds. This one goes in box number 3. Grade A. Quickly transfer to the freezer. His voice resounded loudly amid the sound of the sea breeze. A group of workers stand by the sorting line, their hands deftly supporting each slippery, heavy, and flailing salmon. They not only sort, but also skillfully draw blood and clean the fish's belly if the fish is injured. These movements must be quick and precise so as not to reduce the quality of the meat. A small mistake can cause the entire batch to be rated low when it arrives at the processing plant on land. Meanwhile, another group at the back of the ship is preparing the ice-making and freezing system. The ship is equipped with a large freezer compartment where the temperature is always maintained at -1 to -3 degrees Celsius. Enough to preserve dozens of tons of fish for many days. However, not all fish are frozen. The highest quality salmon will be kept alive in refrigerated seawater tanks. This type of fish is destined for high-end sushi restaurants in Tokyo, Osaka, or even exported to Europe and the US. Some of the young sailors took advantage of the lunch on deck: a few rice balls, miso soup and some pickles, simple but enough to keep them going. They sat facing the sea. Eating while watching the seagulls flying by the ship, waiting for the fish to drop. Perhaps only those who are used to the wind and waves can eat while the ship is rocking in the ocean. Time waits for no one. The fishing continued at high intensity. The sky gradually turned pale gray, signaling the coming of a light rain. On the radar screen, Captain Hiroshi detected another school of salmon moving northwest. He ordered the ship to steer, starting a series of operations as precise as clockwork. The seine was lowered again, this time at a different angle, ahead of the migrating fish. This time the netting took place in high waves. The ship was rocking violently. The sailors had to hold on to the railings tightly as they moved. Many wore their helmets tighter and tied their shirts. A sudden downpour came, but it did not slow down the fleet. The salmon caught in the net this time were even bigger than the first batch. Some weighed more than 12 kilograms. Their skin was shiny silver. Their bellies were round. They were mature salmon in the spawning season. Captain Hiroshi's eyes lit up. "This is the best catch of the month," he said proudly. Suddenly, a shout came from the side of the ship: "Fish escaped! Fish escaped!" A section of the net had been torn by the force of the fish. Without delay, 2 sailors rushed to the spot, carrying a special net patch kit. Within minutes, they had mended the torn part right on deck, in the wind and rain. Their skills have been honed over the years. So with just a few moves, the net is firmly reinforced. The net continues to be pulled up, and tons of salmon are transported into the hold one by one. The smell of fresh fish, salt, and seawater blend together, creating a very unique aroma that only those who have lived on a fishing boat can understand. When the afternoon comes, the boat begins to turn to return. However, the journey is not over yet. Another important part begins, that is, recording. Reporting the output and processing fish samples to send back to the mainland for quality testing. Food safety experts on board will randomly select fish samples from each batch, checking the pH. Bacteria level, and body temperature of the fish after harvest. All must meet the strict standards of Japan, one of the countries with the most stringent food standards in the world. The crew also cleans the deck, cleans the freezing system, and handles organic waste. Not a single piece of net or drop of oil is allowed to fall into the sea. Japan is famous for its awareness of protecting the marine environment, and that is evident right from fishing boats like this one. Each sailor is thoroughly trained to comply with regulations to protect the marine ecosystem. As the sun begins to set, the sea takes on a pale orange hue, quiet and peaceful after a long, fierce day. The sailors are all tired, but their eyes are bright. They have worked for 16 hours straight, but have caught more than 220 tons of salmon, a record number for a boat this month. No one talks much, but satisfaction is evident in every step. Every smile on their tanned faces. At night, the boat switches to automatic cruise mode. Some people take turns resting. Some sleep. Some write their sea diaries. Some take the opportunity to call their families via satellite. Life at sea is sometimes lonely, but also extremely close. These men are not just colleagues. They are a family, living together, working together, facing the sea together as night falls over the vast ocean. The salmon fishing boat quietly makes its way back to the mainland. In the darkness, hundreds of tons of carefully preserved fish lie quietly in cold compartments deep below the deck, waiting to dock for distribution, pricing and further processing. On the deck, the blue-white lights from the industrial lighting system illuminate every corner, like a floating factory in the middle of the dark ocean. A few sailors are still awake, sitting drinking hot tea. Drying their raincoats, or quietly smoking a cigarette to dispel the fatigue. They don't talk much, but there is serenity in their eyes. They know this trip has been a success beyond expectations. As dawn approaches, the fishing port gradually appears in sight, appearing like a lit oasis in the middle of the night sea. Giant cranes, refrigerated trucks and a team of workers are waiting. The ship slowly approaches the port with a slow whistle. Signaling the end of a long night at sea. But for those waiting on shore, it is only the beginning. As soon as the ship docks, the quality control team is ready. They are dressed in white uniforms, holding notebooks and measuring devices, inspecting each shipment. Salmon are randomly selected to be slaughtered, measuring fat content, color, core temperature, and elasticity. Some are photographed for records, serving as a traceability process, a mandatory process in Japan's premium seafood supply chain. After quality checks, the fish are loaded onto refrigerated trucks and transported to wholesale fish markets, where the true value of each batch is determined. Fresh, grade A salmon are taken straight to Toyosu Fish Market in Tokyo, Japan's most famous fish market, where thousands of tons of seafood are traded every day. At Toyosu, the salmon are auctioned the very next morning. Sushi chefs, high-end restaurant owners, supermarket representatives and traders from all over gather here. Each has their own secret to choosing fish, from the color of the fat layer, the veins on the meat, to the elasticity of the fish's body. Just a firm press with the finger, or a light sniff of the gills can determine the value of the whole fish. And it is here that the salmon from yesterday's fishing boat is priced. A premium salmon weighing nearly 13 kilograms, harvested from the sea less than 12 hours ago, was bought by a high-end restaurant for more than 3 million Japanese yen, nearly $20,000 US dollars. It is not just a dish, but a symbol of class, absolute freshness and the quintessential Japanese art of seafood. But not all salmon goes to luxury restaurants. A large portion of the salmon is brought to processing plants located near the port. Here, the fish are filleted. Deboned, skinned, canned or dried, each process is carried out in a closed and absolutely clean environment. Every day, hundreds of workers work continuously in shifts, turning thousands of salmon into diverse products, serving the domestic and export markets. Japanese salmon is exported to more than 40 countries around the world, especially the United States, China, Korea, and European countries. The strict quality standards help Japanese salmon sell for 15% to 25% more than products from other countries. This not only brings a large source of income to fishermen, but also raises the country's image in the field of clean and high-quality food. However, behind that halo are thousands of hours of hard work by fishermen. They work without fixed days off. They live on the ship more than at home. Their families are used to meals without their fathers and husbands. Who are struggling at sea. But they do not complain. For them, this is life. A profession passed down from father to son. The pride of a country that depends on the sea. After completing the handover, Captain Hiroshi returned to the ship's hold with a thick notebook. In it, he recorded the entire journey, departure time, netting coordinates, the yield of each batch, the quality of each batch, and even his personal